Awesome. All right. So let's just find a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you today. If you're sitting up on blankets, that's great, or you have some other props around, or just right on your mat. And we'll get the sit bones grounded. Roll the shoulders back and down. Let the eyes close when you feel ready. And just allow yourself to be aware of the space around you. But then when you close your eyes, kind of forget about where you are at the moment. See if you can just notice the breath. Notice your mat, that little bubble. Even if there's sounds going on in your home, other distractions, kind of create a little shell for yourself for this next hour where you can just be with the breath. We'll do a little bit of a guided meditation for the new year in these first few moments. Feel free to follow along, or if you just want to focus on the breath and tune me out. I guess the benefit of a Zoom class is that you can mute me if you like. So the first part, we're going to just take a moment to reflect on the past. Not so much that we're analyzing or sifting through what we did or didn't do, but just as an acknowledgement that the past has brought us right to this very moment. Take a nice big inhale and a nice long exhale of appreciation for the past that's brought us here. And then bring your attention back to the present moment, using the breath to settle in. We'll begin to move forward, looking briefly or just for a moment into the future. This time of year can bring lots of expectations of what's to come, especially after a year like we've had. We can have maybe really grand expectations of what's to come. But instead of planning everything out, give yourself a moment to acknowledge that this very moment, what you're doing right now, leads you into what's next. The next thing that will happen wouldn't be possible if we weren't here at this moment. And as we bring ourselves back to the present moment, we deepen the breath once again. Sometimes in yoga, we focus on kind of clearing out the past and clearing out the future and just focusing on the present moment, but they are essential pieces in our appreciation of what is here and now. Notice any tension that's built up in the eyebrows, the jaw, neck, and shoulders, and start to soften. We'll take one more full breath. And we'll bring the chin down towards the chest on the exhale. And notice if those shoulders have started to round forward. See if you can draw them back and down again. And then we'll take nice slow movements, one ear towards the shoulder. Exhale all the way back to center. Go ahead and go over to the other side. And then all the way back to center. your time to notice how the body feels with these first few movements. Using the body as our connection to the present moment. This keeps our mind focused, even when our mind wants to scurry away and think about something else. We bring ourselves back with the breath and the body. We'll bring the chin to the chest once again. Okay, take a big inhale, roll those shoulders back. We'll lift the gaze back up. All right, we'll lean back and just switch the cross of the legs. So we're in the opposite position. That's if you're sitting like this. If you're in Sukhasana, if you're kneeling, then you just stay where you are. Good. And then we'll come into some side bends. So walk the right fingertips out. We'll reach that left arm up and over. Take a nice big inhale and push into the floor. Reach with that top arm and maybe turn the gaze up as long as that feels okay for the neck. And then exhale, we'll bring the hand down towards the knee. Push that down slightly to ground, as well as the hip. Good. Reaching that top arm up once again. And then we're going to turn and look towards the floor, getting a little bit of a twist in the belly. So see if you can look down, reaching that top arm out a little bit, and then we'll bring it to the outside of that opposite knee. Good, nice job. Continue to twist towards the floor. And then we'll inhale our way back up. Good, nice deep side bend. The other side, we'll take the left hand out, right arm reaches up. See where you are to start off. Inhale, nice and deep. And then exhale, really push into the floor and reach that top arm. Then we'll rotate. You might look up if that feels okay for you. And then root down with the hand, pushing into the knee, and especially that outer hip, so we want to keep the sit bones grounded. We'll reach back up with the hand. And then start to rotate and turn, looking down towards the floor. So you might feel a little stretch in the lower back, but really we're trying to draw the abdomen in, and then you can bring that hand down. Nice gentle twist for the spine. Good, inhale nice and slow. Exhale all the way. Good. When you're ready, we'll walk our way back up. And we're going to transition into a tabletop position. So go ahead and make your way there. If you want to use a blanket or you have some support for the knees, feel free to put that out. Good, nice job. All right, as you get into your tabletop position, we'll root down into the hands, roll the shoulders away from the ears, and then we're going to tuck the toes under and bring the knees to hover just an 1/8 of an inch off the floor. Notice what happens in the shoulders and the core and the low back. Lower those knees down. So that work that we have at the center of the body, the core, the shoulders, and the low back, that stabilizing effort we want to maintain even when our knees aren't hovering. So let's go ahead and try it one more time. Really push into the hands. Lift those knees to hover. And notice what happens. Then lower them back down. Untuck the toes. And keep that core drawing in. We'll bring the knees a little closer together. And step the right foot back. Good. Heel is extended. When you're ready, inhale, lift that toe off the floor. So this class, this first class of our series, is really not about big movements. It's more about stabilizing and noticing what's going on in the body. Notice if your heel is lifting way up above the hip, and see if you can draw the belly in, and it'll naturally lower the heel. Good. Keeping the low back nice and long. You shouldn't feel any pressure here. If you do, bring the toe to the floor. We'll take another inhale here, and then we'll walk the left fingertips forward. The left hand might stay on the floor, or you can bring it up to hover as well. Opposite hand and leg. Nice, tight abdominal muscles drawing in. Low back is widening in order to protect, and the shoulders are away from the ears. We'll take one more full breath. Nice job. And then when you're ready, we'll lower the hand down, lower that knee down. Okay. Roll out that right wrist. So we should be using a lot of work in the upper back and shoulders, but naturally the wrist gets a little sore, and we'll try the other side. So check back in on that stabilizing through the core. Tuck the toes under, hover the knees. Bring the knees back down, maintain, and then left toe taps back. Good, nice job. All right, from here, we'll lengthen through the back of the neck, lift that toe off the floor. If it comes up a half an inch, that's great. Any type of work that we're doing to stabilize, create a little imbalance in the body, but maintain that stabilization is great. Good, notice if your heel's lifting way up, is it flying way up in the air? Can you draw the belly in to lower it a little? And then once you find that work, walk the right hand forward. Good. Inhale all the way. Maybe the right hand lifts to hover or it stays down. Good, nice job. Our breath is steady. Even if it quivers just a little bit. Good. Take one more inhale. And exhale, we'll lower the hand down and lower the knee. Good. Roll out that left wrist. You can push back to a child's pose. Little release for the low back, wiggle those hips. Find what movements in between the postures feel best for your body. We'll take an inhale. And then exhale back up to that tabletop position. All right, so we'll add a little movement this time. If that first part was really challenging to hold, the movement might feel better for you. So we'll start with the right leg, extending back, left fingertips forward. Toe is down and fingertips are down to start. And then we're going to inhale, float up. Maybe just an inch or two, and then float back down on the exhale. Inhale, we reach up. Exhale, we lower. Good, about 3 more. With the breath. If it doesn't feel quite right to lift both at the same time, alternate. Just do your hand and then your foot. Lower back down, hand and knee come back down. Rock those hips side to side. Roll out the right wrist. And then we'll switch to the other side. Root down. Left toe step back. Right hand reach forward. Inhale, rise up. Check in on that little wobble. That's probably there. And then lower it back down. So we're just noticing, again, the movement's not very big, but there's a lot of work here at the center of the body to stabilize. About 3 more. Last one. Lower it back down. Hand comes back and knee comes down. Good. Left wrist rolls out a little bit. Shift the hips back into your child's pose. Roll those shoulders back and down. Good. If it feels comfortable for you, feel free to bring the head down, or you can even stack the forearms for the head. Good. In this child's pose, think about breathing into the back of the body. This space is where we expand our breath. We open up the back of the lungs. Good. The end of the next breath, we'll shift forward into table, just enough to tuck those toes under. And then we're going to walk the hands back towards the knees. So we're going to come up into a forward fold. If you need another variation to come up, you can always step the knee forward and come to stand from that position, or come to a fold from that position. Otherwise, we're going to push into the hands, walk back, and slowly lift those hips up. Good. The knees might be bent. If you have blocks handy, they're helpful under the hands. You can place the hands on the thighs. And we're just going to let the head relax. Good. Bringing the head lower than the heart if possible. Maybe shift those hips side to side. Good. Roll the shoulders back and down. Good. Take one more full and complete breath here. Keep the knees bent. we're tucking the tailbone under, and we'll slowly start to roll up the spine one vertebrae at a time. Take your time to do this. Make this the slowest thing you've done all day. Sometimes I feel like the only time I give myself permission to go slow is when I'm on my mat, but at least it's there. Good. And come up to standing. Just notice how that feels. Notice what differences are in the body already. All right, we'll come. If you have any props, you can move them off of the mat. And then we're just going to come into Tadasana pose. So just for a little review, if it's been a while, or we could all use a little review of our foundation. Tadasana is where the feet are directly under the hips. So for me, that means there's a space in between my feet. Some people, that means their feet are all the way together, but if that doesn't feel comfortable for you, give yourself some space. Good. Rock from the toes to the heels a few times, really rooting down, maybe spreading out the toes and pushing down into the heel. And once you get that steady, we're going to drop the tailbone. So we find that length through the low back. You can also think of it as the low back is widening. So we really spread out through the low back, and that automatically draws in the front of the body, stabilizing the front. Good. And then roll the shoulders back and down. We lift the chest slightly, but not so much that it's putting pressure on the low back. Take a moment, close the eyes, and just see how it feels here. Good. If this feels different than any other time you stand up, you're probably doing Tadasana correctly, because we don't often stand with perfect position in the spine. When you're ready, we'll open the eyes, and we're going to inhale, bring the hands up. Palms are going to face towards the floor. Good. Notice what happens in the shoulders. They might be a little bit rounded forward. Turn the palms to face in and feel the shoulder blades drop down the back. Do that one more time. So we'll face the palms down and then turn to face them in and feel the shoulder blades drop down. Good. You can even actively pull the shoulder blades down and back. From the side, it looks like this. The shoulders might be rounded forward, and we pull them back. Good. From this position, with the palms facing in, like you're holding something between the palms, we're going to inhale, lift up. Only go to the point where you can maintain straight arms and maintain that shoulder width. So if you can only go up to a diagonal without lifting the shoulders up towards the ears, then stay right there. Good. If your arms come up over the ears, that's great. Good. If they come just maybe a few inches above, parallel with the shoulders, that's great too. Once you get to that position, the shoulders might already be feeling some sensation. Check back in on the core and the low back. So expand through the low back, draw the belly in, check in on the neck. We always find that ease through the neck and shoulders. We'll take one more big inhale, great job. And we'll lower it back down. Good, check in, roll those shoulders. So we'll take that Tadasana pose and we'll start to build on it. So let's step to the top of your mat. Root down in the feet, do that little check up the body. And we'll inhale, hands come to shoulder height, pull the shoulder blades back. When you're ready, inhale the hands up the rest of the way. Once your arms come up to any height, we maintain that height you established already. We'll check back in on the lower part of the body. Core drawing in, tailbone lengthening down, and nice strong legs pushing into the floor. Inhale here, and as you exhale, we'll bend the knees, step back with the right foot. Warrior one position in the legs. Wrap those pinky fingers in, and then feel that foundation reach all the way into the shoulders, into the hips, and into that back leg. Our front knee is slightly bent. Good. And then from the floor, we're going to work our awareness back up. So check in on the alignment of that front foot. Make sure it's pointed straight forward. Good. Make sure the bend of your knee is tracking right over the toes. It's not falling in or out. Square off the hips. Hands on the hips can be helpful for this. We just bring that right hip slightly forward, pull the left hip back a little bit. And then same thing with the shoulders. The shoulders stay square. And we bring our arms back up. Good, great job. Warrior one position here. Nice big inhale. Back heel is grounded down. Exhale, hands come down, and we'll step the right foot to meet the left. Good. Back to Tadasana. We'll set up those arms once again. So we find that little check in the body just a little bit easier. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, shoulders back. Inhale, reach those arms to any height. Exhale, check in on the core and lower back. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, step back, left foot, warrior one. Okay. So we find that awareness moving down from the fingertips down into the feet, and then the feet back up. So we bend that front knee, square off the hips. Again, hands might be helpful. Square off the shoulders. So if you use the line on the front edge of your mat, it might be a little easier as you square off those hips and shoulders. Good, reaching up, check in on the neck as always. Nice big inhale here. Exhale all the way. Good, we'll do one more breath. Nice job, exhale. Hands come down to the hips. And we'll slowly step forward. All right, roll the shoulders down. We're gonna add one more pose, our pyramid pose from our warrior one. So we'll inhale, just one big movement. Let's bring those arms up. Good, exhale, slight bend in the knees and step the right foot back. So we're getting a little bit more fluid with our steps. Good, inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale, bring the hands to the hips and straighten the front leg. Good. Use the hands to square everything off. So we bring that right hip forward, left hip back, and then we slowly begin to hinge at the hips. So just a reminder, this class is about small movements. Only go to the point where you feel those back muscles on the sides of the spine fire. So for me, that's just right here. Don't have to get down to the floor. You don't have to touch the floor. We're just right here. Good. From here, the hips are square, shoulders are square. We're going to extend the left hand forward. Opposite hand and leg. Good. Slight bend in that front leg will help. Not so much that we're really bent like warrior one, but just ever so slightly will keep it from locking out and hyperextending. If that still feels good and you want a little bit more, reach that right hand forward as well. Maintaining the lean. Lots of core work, lots of low back stabilization. Take one more full breath and then use those feet, push into the mat, lift all the way up. Good, hands to the hips, great job. Bend the front knee, step the feet together. Good, roll those shoulders back and down. All right, big inhale, reach those hands up. Exhale, bend in the knees and step the left foot back. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, hands come down. And straighten out that front leg. This time, left hip comes forward, right hip pulls back slightly. And then we slowly start to hinge over that front leg. Again, only to the point where you feel those muscles on the side of the spine, especially kind of in the middle to low back, fire. And hold you in place. Good. The core is also going to do a little bit of that work. So inhale here, lengthen the top of the head forward like you're making the spine longer. Good. If you feel a lot of pressure in this right knee, just bring a slight bend into it. And then we're going to add the right arm. It extends next to the ear. If you add that arm and your body says, no thank you, bring it right back down to the hip, listening to our bodies the whole time. Good. We'll take one more big inhale. Exhale all the way. Just like when we were on our knees, option to add that left arm. Kind of tying these poses together. One more breath. Exhale, push into the right foot, lift back up, strength through the back of the body, and hands to the hips. Bend the front knee, step forward. Good. Roll those shoulders back and down. All right, we'll turn to the side of the mat, so wherever you need to be to face, see what you're doing. And then we're going to reach the hands out nice and wide. Take a peek at the fingertips and just bring the hands to about shoulder height. So you're kind of making a T position. Good, then drop the shoulders. Check in on the neck. You can step or hop the feet nice and wide, trying to get the width of the feet to be the same as the width of the hand. So if you can see yourself, you might kind of use that check. Good. And then pop the heels just slightly wider. Good. We're going to inhale here and think about spreading out. So we're spreading out through the fingertips. We're spreading out through the feet. And then bring your awareness into that low back area. So sometimes we come into this wide position and we immediately spill forward. So think about tucking the tailbone under and bringing that broadness to the low back. Good. We'll take one more inhale here. And then we're going to turn the left toes out. And right heel is going to pop out a little bit in this direction, to the right. And then that left knee bends. Good. We're in our warrior two. So we've done warrior one, and now we're at warrior two. Pull the shoulders onto the back again. Notice as the arms get heavier, do we tend to round forward? If the arms feel too heavy to hold up, then just bring them down to the hips. And you're still getting all that strength work in the legs. Good. This is a class mainly of standing poses, so very energizing, but very strong and strengthening for the legs. That's what I was going for. All right, take one more inhale here. Great job if you still have those arms up. If you don't, and then we'll straighten out the right leg. Good, we'll slowly tilt towards that left leg. Bring the hand down just above or below the knee. Doesn't need to be any deeper. And focus on pulling up with the right hand. Imagine someone is kind of lifting you up with that hand, creating space in the body. Good. If it feels okay for the neck, you can turn and look up. One more inhale. Use that reach of that top right arm and lift back up. Good, we'll bring the hands to the hips and we'll redirect the feet towards the right. So the right toe goes all the way out and the left heel swings open a little bit. What that does is it brings this hip just slightly forward, not so much that we're facing the side, but just enough to get that broadness of the hips. Good. Check in on that right knee. Bring those hands up when you're ready. If you still need them on the hips, that's a great variation. Good. We'll reach out in all directions and settle into the breath. Noticing the difference between a pose where we're moving, building up heat, and a pose where we're just settling in. The end of the next exhale, we'll slowly straighten the right leg, gently lean out and over that right leg. Hand can be just below the knee, just above the knee, and then that top arm reaches up. Focus more on reaching up with the top arm to get that space in the shoulders, then reaching down towards the floor. Good. Steady on the breath. One more big inhale. Exhale, we'll slowly reach up with that top hand and bring the hands to the hips. Good. All right, you can toe heel the feet together or a little hop. Good. Roll those shoulders back and down. We're back to our Tadasana position. Good. All right, we're going to come into those standing poses just once more. So we'll reach those hands out. Walk the feet out. Good. And let's take that left side again. So left toes turn out, right heel pops open. Bend the knee and see if you can get a little deeper this time. So for some of us, that means the feet actually go wider, or you might just bring a deeper bend into that left knee. Good. Think of more of a 90-degree angle if possible. Good. At the same time, you're pushing the back thigh away. So that'd be your right thigh, you're kind of pushing it away to get deeper into the pose and stabilize. Good. When you're ready, we're going to reach all the way out. Find that extension, drop the shoulder blades, and then gaze over those left fingertips. Good, nice job. 2 more full breaths. Notice tension building up in the eyebrows or the jaw. See if you can soften. Last one. From here, we're going to take our right hand to the back leg and slowly lift up into reverse warrior. Reach it up and then straighten that left leg, reach out and over into your triangle. So we come into that position we just did. Focus on reaching up and reaching down at the same time. Might bring you a little bit lower, but not necessary. Good. If you're feeling comfortable there and you want to get a little bit more of that stabilizing effort at the center, let that hand hover. We have 2 more breaths. Nice job. Last one. Top arm pulls you up. Maintain that integrity the whole way, and then pivot on the feet. Right toes point out, left heel pops open. Reach out and bend that knee. So again, if you went wider, you already might feel how the second time around feels a little deeper, or you can kind of encourage yourself to go there. We're all cheering you on. Good. Roll those shoulders back and down. Let those arms float up so they've spent so much time away from the body, above the body, that just feels natural to extend them out at this point. Right? Maybe. Good. Take 1 or 2 more full breaths. We'll take that back arm down, so left arm to the back leg, right arm reaches up, big inhale, just to create space before we come into that triangle. Then straighten the right leg, reach out, up and over. Good. Check in on the top arm first, inhale all the way, and then exhale. Focus on deepening just enough that the body feels a little challenged, but not so much that it's affecting the breath. If you want an extra added core challenge, let that bottom hand hover for 1, 2, and 3. Exhale, lift up. Great job. Hands to the hips, pivot on the feet. We'll come into 1 forward fold before we come to stand. So this time we'll pivot the toes to point towards the side of the mat and then let the heels open up a little bit. So we did that star position where we reach out. From here, we're going to begin to lengthen the heart forward, not so much that we're collapsing in the belly, but just enough to start to feel the hips and the hamstrings open up. Reach, 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 pause. When you get about halfway down, and check in. If this is as far as you'd like to go, hands to thighs or even a prop. If you want to go a little further, then bring the fingertips down. Good. If immediately both knees bend, that's a sign to come back up. So we want to feel this opening through the lower back and down through the hamstrings, but not so much that we're in a squat. Good. Take a few more breaths. Feel free to sway it out here. You can just let the head hang. You can give it a little movement. Maybe a little twist, walking the hands towards one foot and then the other. Good. Finding what works for you. Last full breath. Exhale all the way. At this point, we will bring a bend into the knees, and we're going to start to roll up the spine. So we've done this once already with the legs together. Tailbone tucks under, roll up 1 vertebrae at a time, and then shoulders come back and down. Good. You can step or hop those feet together. Good. All right, last standing pose. We're going to do tree pose 2 times on each leg. So let's bring the feet a little closer together. Since this is a standing focused class, we have to add our tree pose in. Since you're at home, if you feel more comfortable going towards a wall, that's perfectly fine, even just to reach the hand out. You might even have some furniture around that you can hold on to when you're ready. We're gonna take that left leg out to the side and just start with the heel on the ankle, toe on the floor. Check in and notice if that right hip swung out to the side, and see if you can draw it back in, finding that work side to side, front to back to stabilize through the center. And when you're ready, if you're ready, so if you're wobbly here, just stay where you are. If you want to come up a little bit more, you can bring the foot to the calf, or of course you can bring that foot up to the inside of the thigh. Sometimes the hand helps with that. Good. Hands are on the hips. And then just have a quick check-in conversation with your shoulders and see which arm variation feels good for you. If you're still feeling pretty good, I encourage you to find that upward facing hand position that we started class with. If that's a little too much, feel free to keep the hands on the hips or just bring them to heart center. Good. Drop the shoulders away from the ears and notice if just lifting the arms, let everything fall apart here at the center of the body. Slide the tailbone down, draw the belly in, and that stabilizes to give us that strength and stability. We'll take one more full breath. Great job. Exhale, lower hands and foot down. Good. Wiggle out that standing leg, and then we'll go to the other side. So our right leg goes out to the side. Again, check in on the hips. We get into that swing, and then draw it back in. Eyes focus on your drishti, your non-moving point. Probably should not be the video or me, since I might wobble. Good. Take a few breaths and notice if as that foot comes up off the floor and you grow taller into your tree, do you immediately hold the breath? Try to find that ease and flow of the breath even in this position that requires so much attention and focus. Nice job. About 2 or 3 more breaths, taking your time here. Very last one. We'll lower it down, hands down, foot down. Wiggle out those legs. All right, we have one more on each side. If there's a different variation you want to try, if you want to go a little deeper in your tree, this is the time to do that. So we'll take that left leg out to the side. Check in on all that stabilizes, that helps give you that balance, and then come on up when you're ready. Good. Any variation in the hands, you could try hands behind the back. Good. I always offer the option to close the eyes to really challenge that balance. That's a really fun one. Good. Make sure you don't have the coffee table too close if you close the eyes. Good. Feel free to add in that upward facing hands pose for that last little bit of stabilizing through the shoulders. One more full breath here. And then we'll lower it back down. Great job. Last one. Good. All right, right leg goes out to the side, set it up. Come in when you're ready. And as we know, our pose can look different side to side. Our yoga practice is all about bringing balance into the body. So tree pose is one of the most perfect examples of that, because we can see which side is a little bit more unstable. By practicing each side equally, we start to even out that instability, that inconsistency. We'll take one more breath, and we'll make our way back down. Good. All right, nice job. We'll start to move down towards the floor. So if you have props available and you'd like to have a block close by, that might be helpful. A blanket or anything you want to cover up with at the end of class is also helpful, but no props are necessary. All right, as you come on down, just roll your way back. Just be a little extra aware of that lower back as you come down. And we'll pull the knees into the chest. We'll rock side to side, circle them out. Good, giving yourself as much as you need to just ease and soften that lower part of the back that's done some work today. Good, nice job. All right, when you're ready, we'll bring the feet down towards the floor. And we're just gonna let those legs flop side to side. Just like windshield wipers, notice if one side feels a little tighter than the other. Good, one more each direction. All right, so we're gonna come into some back bends. So some bridge pose. This is a comfortable position for you. Feel free to do what makes sense for your body. Otherwise, just follow along if you're unfamiliar with bridge pose. So we'll reach the hands down to the sides, but thumbs are going to point up, almost like you're trying to press the pinky fingers into the mat. And then walk the heels as close to the hips as you can get. Good. This first variation, we're using the outer edge of the hands and the arms, as well as the feet to push in and lift the hips up off the floor. Good. From here, see if you can push the tailbone towards the back of the knees. And this is going to find, again, we're working on that same awareness of widening the low back and drawing the front of the body in to create a stabilizing effect. This actually takes a little of the pressure off of the glutes. Good. Notice if the knees are flailing out to the side, see if you can draw them closer together, not to touch, but just closer. We'll take another breath, and then we're going to slowly lower back down. Good. If that felt pretty good to you, feel free to stay there. Or if you want to deepen this next time, we'll take another variation. So let those knees windshield wiper side to side. Good. All right, next variation, we're going to really tuck the shoulders under the back. So we'll start with that while the hips are down. Try to walk the shoulder blades together. Good. This time, with the shoulder blades tucked under the back, the fingertips are going to point straight up, almost like you're dramatically lifting the chest off the floor already. Push into the elbows and the feet as you rise up. Good. Take a few breaths here. We're actively squeezing the shoulder blades together to open the chest, moving the chest towards the chin. We're drawing the knees towards one another, lengthening the outer edge of the hips. And we're requiring equal effort of the core and the glutes to lift up. Good, a lot going on, but all of those cues bring our attention into the present moment. We'll take one more full breath. Slowly lower down, one vertebrae at a time. Great job. All right, let the shoulders release, let those legs windshield wiper side to side. Good, we'll take one more full breath. And then slowly begin to work our way into the deepest variation, whatever that means for you. Again, if you have a different variation you want to try, go ahead. You could use a block under the hips. Walk those heels in towards the hips as close as they can get. Slide the shoulder blades under the back. Lift up just like we did the time before. And if this feels appropriate for you, extend the hands down and interweave them under the low back. Once you do that, if the arms straighten, you can get a little bit deeper position of squeezing those shoulder blades together for a deeper lift. Only if that feels okay for you. Take about 3 to 5 breaths here. We're just watching the breath come in and out. It's an energizing pose, but we're still gazing in. Very last one, we're still in it. And then we'll release the hands, lower down, nice and slow. Good, release the shoulders, windshield wiper those legs. Nice job. Once you check in on the low back and everything feels okay, you can go ahead and draw those knees in once again. Good, any movement that feels good for you. So a little rock, side to side. Good. At the end of the next exhale, we're going to grab hold of the right leg, any place that feels good for you. So the shin, the back of the thigh, and then we're going to extend the left leg forward. Okay, try to get the entire back of the leg down, but that might not happen. It might have a slight bend in it. That's perfectly fine. And we're going to deepen our circle with just the right leg. So we circle that leg around, let it kind of push into the lower belly, just enough to move some things around, but not so much to cause any discomfort. Good. Then we're going to flex the foot, reach that foot up. You can keep hold on the knee, or you might reach the right arm up with that right leg and hold on to the edge of the foot. This is half happy baby pose. We're getting a little bit of work in that hip. The knee is pointing towards the right armpit, and that left leg is really extended out. Good, we'll take one more breath here. Nice job, and then we're going to take our left hand, opposite hand, over the knee to the outside of the knee, and gently guide it across the body. Right hand releases. And with the right hand, extend out on the floor, and as you guide that leg over, we let go. Good. Take a few deep inhales and exhales. You can close the eyes here, even look towards the right arm. And here's where we let go completely. No longer holding everything in. We've done a lot of stabilizing work. It's subtle but challenging. So here you can let go of that drawing in of the belly, that stabilizing work. You can let go of anything you're holding on to in the low back. And we just wring everything out. Feel free to sigh out through the mouth. Good. Noticing what's been done to bring you right here to this moment. The work that you've done to be here at the end of class. We'll come all the way back to center. And let that right leg extend out, and we'll bring the left knee in. Start with just a little gentle movement and see how that feels for your body. So we're first just kind of testing it out. You can circle that knee around, and it just pushes slightly into the lower part of the abdomen, but not causing any discomfort. And when you're ready, start to extend through the right leg, making it as straight as it possibly can be at this moment. And then we'll lift the left foot, hold the back of the knee, draw in slightly. Feel free to stay here. So again, you're getting a little bit of pressure on the belly, but the knee's pointed more towards the armpit than the center of the chest. And then you can reach up. Okay, you can draw that knee down. A little bit of a hip opener. If it's too much for the hamstring, you can always bring it back out. Okay. Take one or two more full breaths. Even though this pose is very opening and deep, finding that ease with the breath. Push out through the right heel once again. Inhale. Exhale, we'll release the left foot. Bring the right hand across the knee and just gently guide that leg over. Good, those hips will lift. Just come to where it feels comfortable for you. I forgot to say it on the other side, but you could use a block or some kind of prop, a pillow, whatever you have close by, to put in between your knee and the floor if you would like. Left shoulder stays down. You can look towards the left fingertips. And here we just start to let go. Let go of the belly drawing in. Any strengthening work in the low back. We just find that sense of ease. One more full and complete breath. Exhale, we'll come back to center. Good. Any other movement your body needs at this point, feel free to bring that in. And we'll slowly start to work our way into our final relaxation, Shavasana. So if you would like to put socks on, cover up with a blanket, just continue to lie on the back. If you're more comfortable having the knees bent with the feet on the floor, that's a great option. Turning the lights off is always nice as well, or if you have an eye bag. Great job. And we'll take just a moment to acknowledge how we might take what we've done in this moment to move forward into our evening, into our week, the month, and even into this year. I'm not trying to get too caught up with what's to come, but just noticing what you've done to take you into this next phase, this next step. Start to notice the back of the body softening towards the floor. The back of the feet or legs, hips and low back, back of the shoulders and the hands, and the back of the head. Just softens and lets go. Letting that sense of ease wash over the body, easing tension between the eyebrows and the jaw, all the way into the tips of the fingers and into the tips of the toes. Take one more intentional breath here before even letting go of the effort of the breath. Slowly take a few moments to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, roll out wrists and ankles. Start to deepen the breath, maybe a nice deep inhale and sighing out through the mouth. Leaving behind what you no longer need to carry with you. When you're ready, bend the knees, place the feet on the floor, and roll onto one side. And as always, we acknowledge the mind and body for the work that it's done, for giving yourself the space and the ability to practice today, to be in tune with the body. And when you're ready, slowly and gently coming up to sit. Bring the hands to heart center or fold them in the lap, whatever you feel comfortable with. I just like to express my gratitude to everyone that's participating, even though this is not how I imagined to start 2021 teaching and coming back from maternity leave. I'm so grateful for all of you who have signed up and supported the studio in this way, even though we can't be here in person all together. And I'm also very excited for the next 6 weeks for us to connect and deepen our practice. So thank you all for that. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.